Happy Sunday, everyone, and welcome to another episode of From Left to Right. This is Aaron West, and we have some breaking news. Eric Adams of New York has dropped out of the race, and now pretty much we just have Zoran Mamdani and Andrew Cuomo left. It's going to be one or the other, and right now, Zoran seems like he's in the lead by just about enough to take it. All right, 22 points. He's above Cuomo right now. Adams didn't really have a leg in the race whatsoever at this point, and Cuomo is a long shot. There's no doubt about it. Mamdani is way ahead in every single poll that's come out, and it looks like New York is going to be going full-on Soviet Union, communist, free grocery stores. We've seen how that has gone in the past, and it hasn't gone very well. So I'm very curious to see exactly how the people of New York actually decide in this election. It really, really seems like they're going to be going the big communist route. They're going to be comrades to each other, and it's going to be very, very interesting. I really don't see this panning out very well for them in the long run, nor do I see this panning out well for the Democratic Party, because inevitably he's tied to them. Zoran is a Democrat. He pushes communist ideas, and he's really as much of a socialist as anyone's ever seen within the Democratic Party. I would say even beyond Bernie Sanders, even beyond Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Zoran is the closest thing to hammer and sickle that the Democrats have ever seen in popular politics. Actually being taken seriously as being voted in, especially in a place like New York City, the biggest city in the country. So let's go ahead and break down this story a little bit. Eric Adams has dropped out. I want to go show you guys a video from him, show you what Zoran has to say about that, and then also the tactics that are being used against Andrew Cuomo to, I think, even solidify the lead for Zoran even more. We're going to go ahead and get into the story, watch these videos, and make some comments. Let me know what you think. Here's the first video that Eric Adams released after dropping out of the race.
It has been my honor to be your mayor, and I'm proud to say that we took that victory 4 years ago and turned it into action. We built more housing in one term than any administration before us. We drove crime down so far that this year we are on track to have fewer shootings and murders than at any point in our city's history. We raised test scores and attendance through bold education reforms. We made record investments that fueled our economy and drove employment to all-time highs. And we lowered costs for working and low-income families, expanding funding for rental vouchers, childcare, and household costs.
You can definitely see where he gets his good looks. He has a picture of his mother there on his right side or left side, according to his perspective. This is a man that oversaw New York during the Biden administration. He saw the influx of immigrants come into New York, and he managed it the best he could, as far as I could tell. He's also one of the only Democrats that I've seen really try to work with Trump. Andrew Cuomo oversaw New York and worked with Trump a bit during the COVID crisis there, but eventually we saw terrible numbers out of the senior community in New York, and the death toll was absolutely awful there. It was really, really, really bad, and it's hard for me to trust Cuomo as well. With Eric Adams, at least we saw a responsible use of the funds that he was given by the federal government to handle the immigration crisis that he had on his hands. I really don't think there was much he could have done about the immigration crisis that he was dealing with in New York, because there was tons of immigrants being sent there from Texas, from Florida. This was all on record that they were sending their immigrants to sanctuary states, and New York City was the place that they sent a lot of these buses, from what I understand. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that is the case, and Eric Adams was dealing with that crisis, and the Biden administration did pay for a lot of these hotels and a lot of the programs that were eventually put into place by New York City to take care of these immigrants and house them during the time that they were there. It was 3 years that they housed a lot of these people. And just imagine, they're paying for thousands and thousands and thousands of people to be housed in these expensive hotels, top real estate in New York City, and they're paying for their housing, they're paying for their food. It's really an insane expense, a public expense. And this was resulting in school programs being taken away. This was no joke for New York City. And I think Eric Adams did handle it pretty well. Cuomo, on the other hand, I don't think he handled it very well. His crisis, the COVID crisis. I think he took a lot of money. He made a lot of plans. And then eventually it just really didn't come into any real efficient action by the government. Instead, it ended in a horrific death toll for the senior community within New York City. So, yeah, I really do understand the reluctance New York City citizens and residents have for voting back in Cuomo. He's not someone that I would trust much either, but it's kind of like, who do you vote for? You vote for the communist. You vote for the person that was an irresponsible leader in the past. It's kind of funny. I mean, he's doing this whole sales pitch about how well he ran the city, but he's dropping out. So he's, his political career, at least in New York City at this time, is finished. But I can't imagine his political career in general is finished. He's got to be, I would think, loading up for the next move, trying to figure out what exactly he plans to do. I'm thinking he's going to go more on the conservative side and move like we have a lot from left to right, because I think there's no doubt that the Democrats are just against him at this point. He's a Trump alignist at the very least. He supported Trump on immigration. I'll show that in a second here. And, like I said, the Democrats aren't going to be voting for someone who's a Trump alignist, someone that at least has tried to work with Trump, specifically Trump, versus the Republicans in general. He's publicly been on the side of Trump on hot topics, hot issues, including immigration. So, yeah, this guy, he's definitely more right-leaning now than any Democrat that's in an election anywhere in the country at this point.
Yet, despite all we've achieved, I cannot continue my re-election campaign. The constant media speculation about my future and the campaign finance board's decision to withhold millions of dollars have undermined my ability to raise the funds needed for a serious campaign.
And I think that is a shame for the citizens of New York. I really do hope that Eric Adams has a good political future. I think that he's coming to the right side of politics, the right side of history, seeing the light. We'll see what happens with him. But I think with Andrew Cuomo specifically, they are moving to really align him with Trump as well in order to get the Democrats even further away from voting for Cuomo, locking in the win for Zoran and locking in socialism for the community that's living within New York City. Let's see what he has to say right here about Cuomo and his connections with Trump. Loose connections from what I could tell. I'm surprised he doesn't say alleged in this speech here, but let's go ahead and listen to him. It's an interesting take to this question that this reporter here has.
So in the New York City mayoral race, the Republican nominee who's still in the race, Curtis Sliwa, says at least 7 wealthy individuals have offered him money to end his campaign. He says he's going to stay in the race. If you can talk about that, who you think these 7 wealthy individuals are, and are they the same people who are funding ads to the tune of millions of dollars against you?
Well, I can tell you there's no shortage of Trump donors who are seeking to influence this election, who are looking to spend more money than I would even tax them to try and stop our campaign. And at the same time, of Eric Adams and
Honestly, a hilarious line from him there, because he is a tax the rich kind of guy. There's no doubt about it. And at least he can make light of his policy choices. There's no doubt about that. I think that's hilarious on his part. The guy has a talent for politics. There's no question. He's young. He's energized. He gets the young energized. And he's a good politician. He's good on these interviews. Great answer to that question, at least in the beginning so far. Let's see what he has to say.
Andrew Cuomo and Curtis Sliwa. Curtis Sliwa is the one that I would trust the most. And I do think it is very real that there are many who are threatened by our campaign and our politics of putting working people at the heart of this city's focus and are trying to do everything in their power. And we've seen that with Donald Trump being on the phone with Andrew Cuomo, trying to do everything in his power to ensure that they stop this movement. And the sad news for them is that they won't be able to.
Is this going to change your strategy in any way, where it's gone from a 4-person race to a 3-person race? But of course, people are saying that with Eric Adams out of the race, it's much closer to a 2-person race, you and your leading opponent, Andrew Cuomo.
We will have the same focus as we've always had on working class New Yorkers, their struggle to afford this city, and also to be very clear with New Yorkers that the reason that Donald Trump is seeking to clear the lane for Andrew Cuomo is because he knows that Andrew Cuomo will clear their lane for Donald Trump's agenda. There is a reality to the fact that it takes 2 to tango, and these are the 2 people that are so often on New Yorkers' minds as an example of the politics we have to leave in the past.
Well,
just an amazing answer to that question from Zoran. I got to give it to him. I mean, he is going out of his way to connect Cuomo with Trump as much as he possibly can. He's trying to build that connection amongst the Democratic voting base so hard here. And it makes sense. It makes perfect sense to me. We look at this article back from April 2025 about Adams. It's obviously talking about his alignment with Trump and how that's not good for him and the Democratic voters. It says right here, a retired cop who registered as a Republican in the late 90s, Adams has long appealed to more conservative New York City voters. Adams' alignment with Trump would have been devastating in the Democratic primary, where former Governor Adam Cuomo has held a commanding lead in every poll, asterisk, until Zoran came in and took the lead from him, took all of the stardom, took all of the wind away from his wings. I mean, there was no question that Zoran was just the guy once he came in on the scene. It blew up. He blew up so fast, and he's commanded a lead since then. So amazing work on Zoran and his campaign's behalf. There's no question about it. You got here. This was back in August. Andrew Cuomo has unmasked himself as a full-blown Trumpist. So this was the bricks being laid for Andrew Cuomo's connection to Trump, making him a Trumpist in the eyes of the Democratic voter base. And then you got this post from Zoran right before that was created, talking about Cuomo and Trump's connection. This is constant. They're constantly trying to push this connection between Trump and Cuomo so that the New York City voters believe they have no choice other than to vote for Zoran because they're so against Trump. It's really an amazing strategy, and I think it will likely work for him. We can see this September 10th article. Mamdani dominates New York City mayor's race, up 22 points over Cuomo in a 4-way race. It's a 2-way race at this point now. And then, this is on September 10th, as I said, less than 2 months until Election Day. Democrat Zoran Mamdani leads the race for New York City mayor with 45% support amongst likely voters. 45%. That is huge. That's huge. So I do see New York going the leftist trajectory. We're going socialist. We're going hammer and sickle. Zoran is going to be taking over soon enough. We'll see how this all goes. It's, the simulation is really having fun with it right now. And I'm excited to see where politics goes. Everyone, let me know what you think about this video. Please like, please subscribe. Can't wait to hear from you in the comments. Let's have conversations. Good to see you. This is Aaron West from Left to Right. Have a good night. Bye.